حلوة إن إحنا نقابل أبونا ونقابل بروفيسور أشرف. بس نبيل بقى يعني حطتني بعد أبونا، يعني I will take my own back يعني sometimes، عشان أنت دلوقتي ضيعتني خالص، حطتني بعد أبونا واتكلم. طيب I will do my best. Is it right? Is it sound is okay?
Yes.
And shall I speak Arabic and then translate a little bit in English? Not all part of it, or shall I speak all in English? English and a little bit of Arabic. Okay, thank you.
Please.
At the beginning of the presentation, there is some Arabic, but later on there is a lot of English. I distributed the handouts. The handouts from top to bottom, left, right. Yeah, if you would like to see it in the morning, I think it's quite up. The question we are addressing tonight, and I'll try to be quick. Are Egyptians Arabs or are they not Arabs? هل المصريين عرب أم لا؟ ساميون أم حاميون؟ Hamites or Semites? This is a very good question which has been in the media for tens of years. Since the revolution of the 23rd of July, من ساعة ثورة العسكر, we started to hear about القومية العربية, the Arab nationalism. We started to hear in our primary school that Egypt is an Arab country. This was not a question in our parents' time. It was not a question in our grandparents' time. يعني فات آبائنا وأجدادنا السؤال ده لم يكن مطروح على الإطلاق، لأنه كان محسوب، لأن مصر هويتها مصرية فرعونية. وطبعا في أدلة تاريخية وفي أدلة أكثر من تاريخية دلوقتي. The evidence is plenty, and we were going to go through them one by one. When we used to say, talk about it, about the Arab nationalism, our older relatives used to look at us and not really accepting the idea. And didn't accept it because, can you hear us? Yeah. Shall we try this? Is that better now?
Yes.
Yes, it's better. Yeah. We heard from grandparents and we heard from very older people that to be in Egypt in the 20s and the 30s of the last century, you could be exempt from the army. One reason or evidence of being exempted is to say I am Arabic. If you say I am Arabic, لو قلت انك انت عربي تبقى انت مش مصري. All you need to do is تجيب شهادة عروبة من شيخ القبيلة يشهد ان الشخص ده وصول عربية. العرب اللي هم البدو بيعيشوا في الهضبة الشرقية أو الهضبة الغربية أو الهضبة الغربية بالأكثر، وفي بدو في سيوة وفي بدو في الصحراء الغربية. دول كانوا يعني مش مسموح لهم بدخول الجيش علشان إن هم مش مصريين أو بيعتبروا إنهم مش مصريين. In the 20s and 30s of the last century, we used to we hear that there was no admission of Arabs to the Egyptian army because at that time they were considered to be not Arab. Anyway, after the Egyptian revolution, the question was forced on us. The start of the Arab nationalism, if you go back in history, it's a new issue, which was initially started by the Syrians and the Lebanese elites and the educated. They may have some roots in Arabic, maybe, But nobody could say that the Egyptians or the Sudanese or the Libyans, the Sudanese have got their African origin, the Egyptian, the Pharaonic origin, the Libyans are groups of Berber. And in Nigeria, in Morocco, they are Amazigh. They have got nothing to do with Arabic, even their language is different. Their roots are different, their history is different, everything is different about them. There may be some Arabic roots to the Lebanese or to the Syrians, maybe. However, the background of this in 1913, well, the very beginning, the first one recorded to speak about the Arab nationalism was a Syrian man called Satar al-Husari. And he was born in Yemen, and he was working in Istanbul, which is Constantinople, and Constantinople, and it's called Istanbul. Satar al-Husari and group affiliated to him, they were asking the Ottoman Empire to have a little bit more of autonomy, a little bit more of self-determination. They asked or requested that their people army, the country or tribal people army, to stay locally rather than to fight for the Ottomans all over. They wanted the use of the Arabic language to be used more in the government offices. يعني كانت مطالبهم كلها محصورة في شيء من الحكم الذاتي، استعمال بسيط للغة العربية، أن الجيوش بتاعتهم أو أولادهم في الجيش يبقوا موجودين محليا لوكالي في المنطقة بتاعتهم. كانت مطالب بسيطة، ولكن بعد كده الفكرة نفسها بتاعت القومية العربية ابتدت تظهر وابتدت تبقى أقوى مع ضعف الإمبراطورية العثمانية في بداية القرن العشرين. كلنا نعرف موضوع الثورة العربية الكبرى، لورنس العرب، تحالف الشريف حسين مع الإنجليز، اتفاقيات حسين مكنهون اللي هي كانت بتشجع العرب ان هم ينفصلوا عن الدولة العثمانية. الشريف حسين اللي هو أعلن الثورة العربية الكبرى، اللي هو يبقى أبو جد الملك حسين ملك الأردن، حسين ابن طلال ابن عبد الله الحسين. كان حاكم لمكة، وكان تحالف مع البريطانيين وقاد جيش فعلا في سنة 1916 ووصل لدمشق. وكانت مطالب المجموعة دي اللي هي مجموعة العرب الموجودين في شبه الجزيرة العربية، ما طبعا واضح ان العرب هيكونوا في شبه الجزيرة العربية، مش هيكونوا في استراليا او في كندا او في اي بلد ثاني. في شبه الجزيرة العربية هم العرب، انما اللي خارج شبه الجزيرة العربية مش عرب، وهنيجي الأدلة كتيرة. وبعد كده تحالفوا مع الانجليز، وبعد كده جم الحرب العالمية الأولى ما أخدوش حاجة، وجات فترة الامتداد وما عملوش دولة العربية الكبرى اللي كان مفروض إن لها علم، وكان مفروض إنها تبقى مستقلة. حلم لم يتم، ولكن الفكرة استمرت، فكرة القومية العربية اللي هي لا تمت بصلة لنا إحنا كمصريين. بعد كده أنشئ حزب البعث العربي، وطبعا اسمه باين ومش عايز امر على الموضوع ده كتير، بس اللي حصل ان مع ثوره اكتوبر مع ثوره يوليو يبدو ان في شيء من الاجنده بتاعت ثوره العسكر كان فيها احلام توسعيه، احلام فرض سيطره، خلع الاقباط من جذورهم زي ابونا ما قال من شويه، من جذورهم القبطيه المصريه، عشان تبقى القبطي غريب في أرضه، ويبقى العربي المسلم اللي هو طبعا دي موضوع يقول لك مثلا الهوية العربية دي زي ما كنا بنقول اللغة العربية لغة مقدسة، لغة القرآن، ينخلع المصري القبطي من جذوره، وهم ليهم أحلام توسعية أو يعني وات ايفر ايه الأسباب، هم كانوا عايزين يعملوا كده. So what happened after that? The Al-Ba'ath al-Arabi, Hizb al-Ba'ath al-Arabi was created in the Syrian area, and they started to propagate their ideology. And it was accepted, but after that, it was forced really on the Egyptians. We will use different sources to prove the point. We have got many sources, all point in one direction. The only direction they point to is Egypt is not Arabic. Going back to the Islamic sources, Masadir Islamiyya, all the Islamic books agree that Egypt originated from Misraim. Misraim ibn Ham ibn Noah. Misraim, the son of Ham, the son of Noah. He is the father of all Egyptians. Right. Abdullah ibn Abbas, he is one of the Ruwat al-Hadith. He is probably the most famous Ruwat al-Hadith. He said, Ruwat al-Hadith is telling the sayings of the Islamic prophets. And he recorded so many for the Muslim prophet. He was supposed to be faqih, which is a scholar in the Islamic jurisprudence. Abdullah ibn Abbas said that Noah brought his son Baisar, grandson Baisar, the son of Ham, the son of Noah, and Baisar his wife gave birth, of course, to Misraim. This is Abdullah ibn Abbas. The sons of Ham, Cush, Misraim, Hud. There is some contradiction of these stories, but we used to have contradiction from there is a lot of talk, but a lot of contradiction as well in the narrative of the Islamic hadith or books. There is so many. Ibn al-Asir, it's Al-Kamil fi al-Tarikh Ibn al-Asir. It's a very famous book which talks about the history. Again, see the same thing. If you look up the net, you will have tens, maybe hundreds of books saying the same thing. So this is source, the Islamic source of the original Egyptians are Hamites, not Semites. So within their own stories, they contradict themselves. If the Islamists try to say that we are Arabs, so consequently we are Semites, but at the same time they say we are the sons of Ham. How come we could be the sons or daughters of Ham and at the same time Arabs? It can't. It is a contradiction. Going back to some of the authors and the scholars, like Mustashar Muhammad Sayyid al-Ashmawi, in his book Khilafa Islamiyya, he talks about the origin of the Arabs. And in his book, he says the Arabs are two types. The Arabs al-Adnaniyun and the Arabs al-Qahtaniyun. As the name implies, Qahtani is Qahtan. He's got nothing. These are the Yemeni Arabs. They called al-Qahtaniyun. In Yemen, there was agriculture, there was civilization, and there was a very famous floods, which caused a dam called Sad al-Arm to fall. And then they became destitute. They had to leave Yemen. They immigrated. Al-Qahtaniyun went to north, went to Mecca, and some of them went to the north of the Arab Peninsula, شبه الجزيرة العربية. سواء هم كانوا الغساسنة أو مملكة الحيرة. مملكة الحيرة اللي هي عند العراق around Iraq, and this was between the Persians and the Arabs, and the Ghazasani was in Jordan. This is one group, and the original group was the ones called Al-Adnaniyun, which was around Mecca. And they were always at war with each other. And these are the two types of Arabs. According to Muhammad Said al-Ashmawi, these are the Arabs. Either Qahtaniyun or Adnaniyun. And they are in the Arab Peninsula. He didn't say that there are Arabs anywhere else. It is only in the Arab Peninsula. If you go back to scholars like Sheikh Maqid, Sheikh Taqiyuddin Ahmed ibn Ali al-Maqid, he says the same thing, that they agree that the Egyptians are the sons of Ham, Musra'im, Ibn Ham, Ibn whatever, Ibn Nuh. Okay, fine. I mean, if they are agreeing that they are Hamites, so what is the point of saying that we are Semites? Yeah. We come to the Egyptologist, Oxford University historian H.S. Dayton. He says in the magazine International Affair in 1946, he said the Egyptians are not Arabs, and they both know, and the Arabs are aware of the fact that the Egyptians are not Arabs. They are Arabic speaking, yes. They are Muslims, yes. Indeed, the religion is more important than the Syrians, than the Iraqis to them. But in any case, they are not Arabs. And we know. The Egyptians know, the Arabs know. There's no point to call us Arabs. Egypt sees the Arab cause is a worse cause. And they sympathize with the Arabs. And the reference, of course, if we have good internet, we can give you this. Now, we move to a little bit scientific move, forgetting about the history and the sociology and whatever, and we go to the anthropology, the older type of anthropology, the biological anthropology, talking about things which, to some extent, some people argue against it now, but which is, for example, the craniofacial criteria of the Egyptians. This is the skull of Akhenaten. Anthropologists, biological anthropologists, like somebody called Nancy Newell, I think she's an authority, he said, the physical anthropological evidence indicate that early Nile Valley population can be identified as part of an African lineage, not Asian, not Semites. So, this one, the first one, was the craniofacial criteria. Second one was the habitus, body habitus, or the limbs. Limb ratio, Loring Brace. He considered the characteristics of the skeleton of the Egyptians and the Africans, and he agreed on the same thing. He actually considered the Egyptians to be super negroids. You know, with longer, maybe arms and legs than some of the African tribes. He's an anthropologist in the University of Michigan, and the other parameter as well is the dental morphology. Same thing, but okay, this is maybe debatable. But now we can talk about the last point, the molecular anthropology. This is more definite, and there are hundreds, well, tens at least, of studies. You can look up loads of them. All agree that Egypt is mainly, the genes in Egypt in the north and in the south. Two broad groups, sub-Saharan Africans and Northern Africans. About 60% of the genes are in the south are Northern African, about 29% are sub-Saharan African. And if you go to the north, you will find the percentage is less, because we understand that there has been so many invasions of Egypt, from the north mainly, and from the south, the Nubians, from the south. But from the north, Canaanites, Libyans, Assyrians, Cushites that are in the south, Cushian, Persians, Greek, Romans, and Muslim Arabs. But they said, and I've got the reference, I have got handouts, and I've got summary from the Wikipedia. And it is different. This is from the Wikipedia. What it says, DNA Y chromosomes, the studies of DNA Y chromosome, because presumably الواي كروموزوم ده يعتبر ميل كروموزوم رجاله، والغذاء من النادر اللي هيكون فيها ستات. ف they studied the Y chromosome. They said, however, these do not seem to account for more than اللي هو non-African genes, not more than 15% of the overall of the current Egyptian ancestry, when the DNA evidence of the ancient mitochondria, DNA, and the modern Y chromosome is considered. If we go back to the history, في التاريخ، مصر كان تقريبا تعدادها 16 مليون، وكانت سلة القمح بتاعت الدولة الرومانية أو أشبه، بحيث إن كان الخراج بتاع مصر أو سوري الجزية كانت 4,000 دينار. مثال أبونا يصحح لي المعلومة دي، في وقت كان الجزية was taken from the Egyptians, from the able male, not from the female. This is how the population, not from the children or the elderly or the disabled. فيعني if you think that about 1/4 of the population were able males, jizya was about 4 million. I know after that it was taken increased 2 dinars، يعني 2 دينار على كل واحد، فيما عدا الرهبان طبعا مع غير القادرين، مع الستات، مع الاولاد. وبعدين زودوها حتى على الرهبان، وبعد كده اخذوا الجزيه من الاموات. يعني فدي كانت بلد كبيره تعدادها 16 مليون. لما 4000 واحد حسب كتاب سناء المصري دخلوا اثناء الغزو، وبعدين جوينت في التاريخ بعد كده later on joined by 4,000 people during the Islamic invasion, joined by maybe a few during المأمون لما حب يخلق ثورة المشموليين، واضطر ان هو يجي بنفسه على رأس الجيش علشان يخمد الثورة، لأن الوالي بتاع مصر ما قدرش يخمدها. فدلوقتي زي ما انت بتقول مهما كان عددهم هيروحوا فين في 16 مليون؟ لو جم 4000 أو 40,000 أو 100,000. فالجينات المصرية ما زالت معظمها وأغلبيتها جينات أفريقية غير عربية. واللي أثبت كده دلوقتي يعني الثنجر، يعني نشكر ربنا إن في حاجة اسمها العلم. في ناس لا تؤمن بالعلم، يعني اللي مصرين على ان احنا عرب، يعني لو حبوا يعني يستعملوا القرايه، اسلوب القرايه، ويقروا الدراسات دي. يعني في واحد اسمه كروشياني ايطالي كتب دراسه موجوده على بلوج. البلوج بيقول ايه؟ يا جماعه بيصور، بيقول المصريين مش عرب، ايجيبشن. وفي دراسه اتعملت في القرن طبعا تثبت نفس الكلام. كيرني، ماثياس كلمة ديستيل لايف ده بالألماني في جامعة مينز ماينز يس الدراسة بتاعته نفس الكلام. المصريين حاميين أفارقة ليس عرب. ميتوكوندريا دي ان ايه نفس الكلام. الجولدن جنب الأقصر يس. يا جماعة بنقول لو انتم مصرين ان احنا عرب اقروا تعملوا اسلوب القراية. فيعني دي يعني انا عملت هاند اوت وفي صفحه من الانسايكلوبيديا وفيها سوري الويكيبيديا وفيها ريفرنسز اللي يحب يدور على ريفرنسز. يعني احنا بنقول الكلام دوت مش علشان اي حاجه، مش بنقول ان الحمايس احسن من السمايس او السمايس احسن من الحمايس. يعني ربنا المفروض يعني ان هو بيعامل الناس على حسب عملها، والامم والشعوب بتؤخذ بمقدار ثقافتها وبمقدار المورال فاليوز اللي هي بتروج. يعني لو في شعب من الشعوب او بلد من البلدان بتفرض على الناس دين معين او بتحجر على الناس حريه الفكر حريه العقيده، يبقى قطعا نقدر نقول دول شعوب متخلفه. انما مش بنقول ان الحمايتس احسن او السمايتس احسن، بس احنا بنقول الحقيقه، لان احنا بنؤمن ان ليس مخفي الا ويعلن ويستعمل. وكمسيحيين بويتنس فور ذا تروث، فاحنا نحب دايما ان احنا نعلن ان هي هويتنا مش عربيه، وان احنا جذورنا مصريه فرعونيه. اشكركم وارجو ان انا ما اكونش قطعت عليكم، انا عارف طبعا الوقت بيجري، فشاكرين وشكرا.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. Thank you for the very informative and I'll tell you the time I've got because of past 10 minutes, maximum 15 minutes for questions, whether for Ibrahim or for Abu Nadir. So please, any question, please go ahead.
I just would like to add something important. You have treated the subject in such a way, very, I mean, historical and also the science exact. But also the language itself. I mean, the linguistic studies, you see in the Egyptian language, either when it used to be written in hieroglyphic or in Greek character, what is so-called Coptic language, it's the same. We found that it is a Negro language. It is not at all, and some people try since 20, 30 years to say that it is a mixture between Semitic and Hamitic, but it is not true. But the vocabulary related to Semitic, it is not. It is Egyptian, some Arabs, some Asiatic take it as Amir, for example. It was not at all Arab, they say Sheikh. And, but they got it from the Egyptians. And a lot of things, Father Nicole mentioned many, and I think he's going to publish a lot of these vocabularies. So it is a Negro. I am not going now to treat this, just to confirm what you said, but maybe if you want to add it, also the linguistic studies and these roots of the Egyptian language. Thank you. If you want to add to it.
Oh, yes. Thanks, Professor. Thank you very much. 2 years ago, we had L'Ustaz Bayoumi Andil, and he really gave us very interesting talk about the Al-Ammiya, the slang language, and its Coptic roots, and its superiority to the Arabic. And it just come to my mind, a couple of things about the way we pronounce things. We don't pronounce it exact like the Arabs. For example, the dental letters, we say ثعبان. We don't say ثعبان. The Arabs say ثعبان. We say تعبان because we don't use the muscles. Over the years, the muscles developed in a way, the articulation muscles,
Yes.
developed in a way that can't pronounce like the Arabs because the original muscles was speaking in Coptic. He was even given an example of some languages as they progress, they become simple. And he was criticizing أسماء الموصول العربية. You remember that? He said, you have an Arabic, الذي والتي واللائي واللائي والذين and this is really complicated. It shows inferior type of language. But the slang Egyptian, illi instead of all that. So it shows superiority of the slang over the Arabic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.